Welcome, comrade. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you. I want to greet in the first place to Brother Nicolás Maduro Moros, President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. We greet also to Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, President of the Republic of Cuba, to the brother Daniel Ortega Saavedra, President of Nicaragua Republic. We greet also to Roosevelt Kevin, Prime Minister of Dominica. Greet also to Antigua and Bermuda Prime Minister. We greet also to Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Brother Terence Raw, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis Federation. Deacon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada, and to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. The heads of delegations that are here to our executive of ALBA. I want to transmit to all of you present here in the first place a warm greeting in the name of the Bolivian people, of its social organizations, and our government, which I'm honored to preside. Today we are held in the meeting in a crucial point of history marked by global challenges, unprecedented global challenge, and with serious threats to the world peace. The world is facing the political uncertainty in the highest levels by the persistent negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, by the consequences of the multilateral crisis of capitalism, and by the bets of a power located in our continent, getting the military funds and the stabilization plans as an exit door to establish the unavoidable declination in the world order. That's why only before months to get a new anniversary of the creation of ALBA-TCP, we encounter into the reaffirmation of the main principle to promote the Latin Americanism through the culture of our regions. From the creation in 2204, this alliance has been a light for the Latin American and Caribbean countries, encouraging the collaborations. In this sense, I want to continue my intervention is this 23rd summit of ALBA-TCP, invoking one firm action and decisive from our alliance facing the genocide in the Gaza Strip produced by the aggression of Israel against the Palestinian people, because it's the Palestinian people that is currently counting by thousands his death and wounded, never seen in the recent history of the humankind. Being consequent with the legacy of Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro, and also by our ancestries' legacy and dialect culture and social justice culture from the Plurinational State of Bolivia, we promote that through ALBA is being studied the possibility of one in the frame of the ALBA-TCP that is agreed on the 23rd, celebrated in New York, conform a support team for the Palestinian people, to then extend this field of action to education and food production, science and technology. Second, to offer scholarships from pre-grade and post-grade for Palestinian students. Third, to invite the Palestinian state to join as a full member of the Bolivarian Alliance of Venezuela, TCP. We must remember that in October of last year, ALBA-TCP was one of the first regional blocs that pronounced in facing the violence scale in the Gaza Strip, announcing the violation of the international laws and the violations of the principle of the international charts. In the middle of this conflict, we called to dialogue in that time and to the respect of the international law. And we reiterate this call from this peace stand. The humanitarian crisis that is lived today in Gaza is unacceptable. In the afternoon of Thursday, April 28th, the using his veto sources in the United Nations Council stop the recognition of Palestine as a full member state of United Nations, which is a fundamental step towards the peace and stability from the Middle East. The international community must demand that the International Council of Security fulfill the purpose of its creation and to demand this democracy. The veto is not a structure that is functional in this current context, and at the contrary, is being an obstacle to guarantee peace, is perpetuating the impunity of countries as Israel that pretend to extend the conflict into the region. The veto is unjustified, is immoral, and is harassing the rights of the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people has right to the self-determination and its sovereignty. The acknowledgement of the Palestinian people as a full member of the United Nations is a crucial step towards the peace and the stability of the Middle East. In various occasions, in different international forums, we've been insisting in the need to ratify the proclamation of Latin America and the Caribbean as a peace zone. We've also we're saying that United Nations Assembly the need to extend this qualification. The peace and dialogue must be the main guideline for the state. It is a main goal to come into a Pacific, into our world. In the CELAC summit in the OAS, the immense rate of us, Latin American and Caribbean countries, we condemn the eruption of the Ecuadorian police into the diplomatic headquarters in Quito. An unprecedented situation in the international law that must be remembered. This shameful situation constitutes a grave violation of the Vienna Convention upon the diplomatic relationships of 1961, mainly in the inviolability of diplomatic headquarters. By the other hand, the kidnap of the Vice President Jorge Glass is going against the refugees and diplomatic asylum of 1963 and 1964. With this unexcusable procedure in Ecuador is being violated one of the main institutional laws of the peace and humanitarian character, especially in Mexico, that is encouraging to Latin America. The violence has no justification. Under any concept or circumstances, we must allow that what happened in the Mexican embassy in Quito can be a precedent that guide the relationship between the states. Likewise, I want to make a statement that our love by the Ecuadorian people and the ties that are holding us, this protest is not against them, is for any situation that can affect the brotherhood of countries. In the name of the Bolivian people, I want to express one more time our solidarity with the Mexican people, with the brother President López Obrador. Our Sister Alicia Bárcenas, the ones who defend the Mexican embassy in Quito. Brothers and sisters, only a couple days ago, the threat of the world peace has been again. United States is making funds to support Ukraine, Taiwan. This is another signal that United States is seeking the unstabilization of this area with the violence as a main tool. Before going into the diplomacy path, the violence path is being going through. I wish that this amount of funding and all the millions of dollars that have been invested in these purposes will be destined to fight the hunger and the poverty, and we raise our voices in condemnation to this fact, and in the frame of this International Day of Bilateralism, we reaffirm the commitment of the countries members of the ALBA-TCP to promote peace and sustainable development commitment in the world. The triumph of the diplomacy and the peace in the country for the life are certainly filling us with pride. However, there's other subjects that are worrying us in the regional context of international relationships, binding as well to the external actions, particularly in the region of Central America, by unilateral course of measure against different countries of the region, among them Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, passed December 15th through a communique of ALBA-TCP, was rejected the intrusion of United States upon Honduras and several Central American nations. Last December, the State Department, in a certain homage and tribute to the Monroe Doctrine, launched 14 citizens, Latin American citizens, binding them to some different electoral processes of government spheres. United States got a plane, was a property from TeleSUR, a Venezuelan company, under the pretext of the blockade that Venezuela is under. Another action of this character passed only a couple days ago when the United States government decided to reverse the license that was facilitating the operation of Venezuela in the oil and gas sector. In this context, it's also remembered to Washington that 200 years ago, the countries of Latin America and the Caribbean conquered our independence and full freedom after an epic war, only comparable with the big military campaigns of the human history. Today, these principles are not given in the virtue of what I said before and getting into the common sense and into the basic principles of the international law from the Bolivian state, we demand 1. Respect to the equality of rights, respect that is said on the chart of the United Nations, to the cease of the intervention politics of the United States and the European Union towards Latin America and the Caribbean. 3. The cease of the imposition of blockades and embargoes and unilateral coercive measures against our peoples and other people of the world that only manage to obstacle the right to obtain a sustainable development for our nations. The withdrawal of Cuba from the list of sponsors of terrorism. Number 5, the cease of the funding of United States to the plans of violence and encouraging the Palestinian genocide and the Ukrainian and the Taiwan conflict also. And amidst the multi-dimensional crisis of capitalism that is acting only according to its interests, the construction of a new global order must stop to be an idea to become a reality that's been demanded. From the ALBA-TCP, we have a lot to add for the edification of this new global order, an inclusive one. With lack of resources, our Bolivarian alliances has achieved and conquered goals in educational, trading, integration, foods, sports, etc. Let's imagine for a moment how much we can achieve if we could be united or associated to other regional blocks from the global south. We cannot delay anymore the strengthening of the ALBA-TCP. We need to be closer to the CARICOM, to the African Union, to the Euro-Asian Union, and to the BRICS. The tendency is unavoidable. The world's economy is being translated to Asia and Euro-Asia. And I said it before, America and the Caribbean must have a place in the construction of this new multipolar order. The global reordering demands a new architecture of finances without impositions and conditions, attempting against the dignity and sovereignty from the people. The ALBA-TCP is content with mechanisms and experiences of economic complementation that can build immediately this needed change. Without a doubt, we encourage in the path of building this new order with solidarity and reciprocity that is a characteristic of us and that allow us to build in a short term the base of the cooperation in the frame of the Agenda 2030 that is being in line for the beneficial character of our people. Long live ALBA-TCP and the homeland in this 20th anniversary.